Hello, Ermit. So I've been asked by a few people how is a good way to go about finding a psychic or a tarot reader or basically somebody to do a reading for you. And first of all, I believe that anybody can learn to do these things. I believe that unlike in fantasy books and so on, it's not like only a special few have these abilities. I believe that we all do, that it's part of our human makeup. It's just that we have forgotten, so that everybody can learn to develop various forms of psychic abilities. But of course, some people are better at it than others. And also, sometimes it's very difficult to read yourself. And then, unless you are fortunate enough to have friends or family members who also practice these arts, you might want to at some point see a professional. And it can at times be very difficult to find a reader that you can trust. Now, some of the problems is that there are, since these things are not officially recognized by society, so on and so forth, there are no control agencies that basically provide any form of quality control when it comes to readers. This means that basically anybody can just put up a sign on the door that I read cards or palms or whatever, and just serve you whatever bullshit they desire, meaning that it can be a little bit of a process to find someone. Now, one more thing that you should know is that even if the reader you choose is amazing, everybody makes mistakes at times. Even the most skilled readers only are right about 80-90% of the time, so you should never accept anything that's in that you get in a reading as the ultimate absolute truth. It's a roadmap, but not much else. You have to know what to use it for or not. Anyway, so the first thing you should know is that those psychic 800 numbers or whatever it is, and you can find at the back of various magazines and such, that's generally a bad way to go. Because, well, there are some really good people who work at those, because really it's a way that you can earn money on your gift. And not everybody lives in an area or have the option to set up shop in their homes or rent a place, so it's a way to connect with people and connect with possible customers. So they are very skilled people. I know a few people that do work for those companies that are very good. However, these companies also have a tendency to be somewhat unserious. Like there's one person I know who is very good. She's very talented, but she was working for one of those numbers, and she found herself in a catalog as the mysterious Sarina from Russia. Now she's a housewife from the suburbia in Norway. So yeah, generally these numbers are expensive, and you have no quality control whatsoever. And generally speaking, it is much better to sit and across the room from your reader than it is to just have it over the phone. And if you're going to do it long distance anyway, something I do recommend is to join some forums, Facebook groups, and so on. Because often there you will find those psychic related groups. There's a lot of people that read you just for the training of it, or to trade services, because for many people it is difficult to read oneself. So you say, I need a reading, I'll give a reading in return, and so on, and that way you can save a lot of money. You don't have to pay for it, while at the same time you get somebody to read you. And if you're going to do something long distance anyway, you might as well do that rather than call those numbers. Now, generally speaking, how to find readers in your area? Well, sometimes there's advertisements, so you can, for example, Google your area and psychic readings, psychics, card readers, tarot, and so on and so forth, and see what pops up. Local psychic fairs and so on is often also a place where you can get information about local readers. However, I do not really recommend going and getting a reading at a fair, because there's two problems. One, it tends to be enormously expensive to do it at those fairs, and two, with all those energies around, all those people that read things and test out crystals and test out rituals and all of that, and all that incense everywhere and every which way, there's so many energies going around that it's very, very difficult to get accurate readings. So, unless you have unlimited funds, I don't really recommend doing it at those fairs. Even if you just want to have a reading for fun, you will get better quality if you just get the business card of a reader you meet there that seems to be able to do a good job, and just go to him and her once the fair is done. You'll get a better reading. So, how do you quality control things? Well, first of all, Google the one that you are planning to go to, because people write about their experiences on the internet all the time, meaning there's a good chance that you can find some feedback, good or bad, for this person. Secondly, when it comes to payment, now I do not subscribe to the idea that if you practice magic or have a psychic gift or anything like that, you should never take money for it, because we live in a material world and even psychics have to eat. So taking a fair price for your services is completely okay. And hell, if you are like Lisa Williams or any of those TV psychics that can charge almost as much as she wants, free capital, enjoy. However, it's also a little bit of a red flag if somebody charges a lot. A fair price is completely okay, but so basically I would say look around and also look at what are the general rates in your area for other personal services like that. Look at, for example, hairdressers, nail designers, massage therapists, all of those kinds of things, and see, is the reader you are considering going to having prices from around those ranges? So that's a good sign. Another thing that would raise a red flag is when you are going to do your reading. If basically the person tries to compel you in some way to return and return and return. Now, you cannot always finish everything in one session. That is true. However, it should be up to the customer if they feel the need. If somebody says, oh, I see this amazing love in your future, it is your dream guy, your soulmate, but I cannot see his name right now, but I will ask my spirit guides, and you have to return on Friday and pay me twice what I have taken now, and I will reveal his name, or you'll lose the chance for this love forever. Yeah, that's a good indication that you are being served bullshit on a plate. So yeah, don't do that. Generally speaking, if somebody tries to compel you that you have to return. And that also goes if you go to somebody who does spell work for you. If sometimes it will take more than one time. However, if you get the feeling that they are sort of manufacturing reasons for you to come back, then that's a good indication that they're just trying to drain your money. Basically, if they say that now I have told you as much as I can now, this is what I get now. If you don't feel that there's a need to ask more, then you might consider going again. But it shouldn't feel like this is something that person that are reading you are planting in your head. Now, as for cold reading, I would say here it depends a lot on what you mean by cold reading and what you're after. Basically, of course, if the person then asks for your name and all such things, Google you and all their service information that they could have easily Googled up on you, that's one thing. However, I believe that there's no difference really between magic and the mundane, meaning that when I read somebody, I'll use everything openly available to me. If I look at the person's face and see that they seem somewhat upset and so on and so forth, I will filter that in a bit. We'll take that into it. I will use everything I can pick up, both psychically, both from the cards, both from that person, everything to be able to get as accurate a picture of what's going on as I can and offer advice as best as I can. This is one of the reasons why I feel it's much easier to and better to both get a reading and give a reading to somebody who I can see face to face. Now, of course, doing like that is much less impressive when it comes to proof for psychic ability. But when I work, that's not my point. My point is to give the client as good advice as I can possibly do. And a lot of readers are like that. So even if they sort of picks up on your cues, that doesn't really mean they're trying to scam you. However, one thing that can be an indication that somebody's trying to scam you is that if you have to leave your name, a lot of other things that can be used to dig up information on you and then come back some days later. So you really have to basically, things that are a red flag is if they're trying to seem that much more mysterious than they really are, and also if they basically fish a lot for information. One thing is, everybody at times fish for information because, for example, let's take the Sun card. It can mean so many things depending on both, of course, displacement in the reading, but also with the situation of the person involved. But there's a difference between that and when it really feels like they're just getting enough information to Google you. So you have to have your wits about you. So other advice I can give is you need to look into what sort of reading are you after, because there's a lot of difference between, for example, coming to somebody like me who work with mostly cards, a few other methods, and who are basically, I am more concerned with giving advice, basically seeing the situation that you're wondering about and giving you the advice for you to reach the best possible outcome. Or if you want, for example, a medium reading where you want messages from the departed, or if you are perhaps looking at that as something I also do, an energetic reading, which usually has more to do with your health and so on and so forth. So I would, even if you are not massively interested in practicing these things yourself, I would at least Google various forms of typical methods of various forms of psychic readings and see what sort of method is it that you are wondering about, and then just basically Google and see if you can find readers in your area. If you cannot find readers in the area, then join various forms of groups, and so basically get free readings from them, because there's a lot of people that offer free readings because it's great training. And you can also offer them readings in return, and so on and so forth. And then basically have your wits about you. Remember that you are buying merchandise that there are no quality control for. You go to a hairdresser and they turn your hair pink without you meaning it to be pink. You can generally go and complain. There is various places you can go to complain about this because you have not been delivered the goods promised. There are no such control organs when it comes to anything to do with the supernatural, meaning that you're very much on your own, and you have to have your wits about you with how to spend your money. So yeah, those are the advice I have when you are looking to find a reader. I hope this video has been useful for you. Have a great day, and blessed be.